Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from NFL playoffs to pro and college basketball, UFC, MMA, and much more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to receive your rewards. BetOnline.AG, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, so far 3-1 on this road trip. Had an amazing game on Saturday. We're going to get into all that on the show, but what was your guys' takeaways from this lovely weekend we had?
It's great. That's what was needed, going into the playoffs and playing good ball, beating good teams on the road, and that's what you want to see.
Like we said, if they beat Milwaukee, it totally wipes away that Dallas stench. So, and it did, I think. Like people kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, winning cures all, like they say.
Oh.
And we can we also talk about like how bad the scheduling's been? Like we had a lot of weeks where we played on Monday and the next game was on Friday. We made a lot of comments about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden we're back-to-back road games.
Gym availability, arena availability, other stuff that goes on in the arenas.
Man.
I learned that, like I said, remember I told you guys when I played, we only had our home games were basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and hockey was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and we would both share Sunday. So that's why if you look on TNT, which was Thursday, we were always on the road. Well, national televised game, we're always on the road.
Damn.
It's just, yeah, I
don't know if it's still like that, but I'm just saying, like there's
a lot of factors.
Yes, the arena availability at the beginning of the year. I remember having this conversation with Billy on like how they determined. He was like at the beginning of like earlier in the year in the summer, they have to send in like all of their available dates to the league. Like everybody send in their available dates, and they start making the schedule based on everybody's arena availability.
Mm.
So it's it's complex. I mean, you think that even sometimes those arenas are primary. When we played, we had a lot of success, but we were probably the second tenant. It was hockey. The Flyers were probably the number one tenant when we played because of ownership, not necessarily because of success, because of, ownership was always a hockey guy, more so until, the Roberts brothers came, along. Or whatever, so it was, and people didn't realize when they built what is it called now? Wachovia? Like I don't even know what is it called.
First Union.
Yeah, I mean it's changed names,
Wells
Fargo.
Wells Fargo,
yeah. Do you all know that Wachovia actually bought Wells Fargo, but they kept the Wells Fargo name? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a fact. So if you have a Wells Fargo account and you make like you wire money, it'll say Wachovia.
Interesting.
So anyhow, anyway, yes, it's just difficult. It's a lot of teams that some arenas have multiple teams. Just think of the Lakers, for instance. I mean, the Lakers, Clippers, Kings, all them shows and concerts that, at Staples, like, it's hard.
Yeah, I get it, man. But 5 road games in 7 nights, that's a brutal stretch.
That was normal for us.
Not in this pampered.
That's what I'm saying. Now it's different, but with it has helped with them spreading the season out. Starting 2 weeks or 3 weeks earlier, whatever they do, that helps with the dates. So if you crunch in those dates and you take those 2 or 3 weeks away, now all of a sudden that's when you get into those 2 and 3 nights, 3 and 4 nights, 4 and 5 nights. That's why you have all that stuff, because of the availability is not like you're the only tenant. You come in, you play whenever you want to play. That's not the case.
Yep.
See,
we have 3 more back-to-backs after this too.
Yeah. And guys are tougher back then. They could handle the those stretches.
Ooh, watch it. You're gonna get JJ Redick after you, man. If you're watching.
Hey man, I don't have anything to do with that. I'm not knocking them guys at all for all that. If
I didn't
let them take time off, they let them take time off. Yeah. I just don't. I mean, I don't know if guys would necessarily take games off. I do know some guys that would. Like I played with some guys that would take a game off if they told them in a heartbeat. I know some guys that would take, definitely practice. Like almost the majority would take practice off, if not every.
Practice,
especially Coach Brown's practices. It definitely would take time off if you could, if that choice was given. But games, most guys I played with just wanted to play the games and not practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
the
field for most guys.
You play with the most famous guy who wanted to play in games and not practice.
I mean, he didn't necessarily not want to practice. Like he wasn't any different than us. I mean,
he just couldn't believe we were talking about it.
yeah, not the game. Yeah. Not the game I love. Yeah, not that game.
Oh man.
My guy.
The interesting thing was the following day I was watching the Bucks and Wizards game, and I didn't realize this. So Bucks after that game fly to Washington. They didn't get into DC until like 3 a.m. that night, and they had to play like a 6 o'clock tip off with the Wizards. Apparently that game got pushed up a day for availability reasons because some other game got postponed, so they had to like move that in. So that game should have been Monday, ended up getting played Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah. And they won that game. That was closer than it should have been.
It was probably the game when forgot who it was. Somebody couldn't get out of Dallas during the ice, the weather.
Yeah,
they couldn't fly out of Texas.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And they canceled that game. I think that was the reason why.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the Pistons. They said it during the telecast, but I totally forgot.
Maybe it was somebody. It was somebody. It was the East. It was the Eastern Conference team. So basically, probably whoever the Wizards play today. That's probably who it is. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wizards Pistons.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Reschedule their game for March 7th.
There you go.
Man, too bad. I'm sure people are going to be lining up to go to that one.
Is it in Washington?
Yes.
It says NBA announced today it's Wizards at Detroit will be rescheduled.
Oh, it's at Detroit?
It's at Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, it was Detroit couldn't get back home, or either the Wizards couldn't get to Detroit, one or the other.
Yeah, Now you say that, I remember it.
Yeah. Wild. But I was rooting for the Wizards in that one. Milwaukee ended up squeaking by, and Giannis almost had the triple double, which they took that back. What do you think about that, Eric? Since everyone's talking about padding stats these days now, what do you think about Giannis doing the?
It's no different than it's a rebound coming and everybody move out the way and let a guy get the rebound. It's the same thing. He just individually did it, but guys have been doing that forever. Hey man, he need one more rebound. Let him get that rebound. Is that not padding stats?
It is.
Yes. It's just a different form of it.
At least that was a real shot, though.
Yeah, I mean, the league rescinded it, so obviously they felt like it was something that he didn't need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm not really tripping because it's not like Giannis can't get a triple double. You know what I'm saying? Like it's especially on a rebound.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
You expect the assist to be the one.
Yes. So him getting the rebound doesn't. I mean that's not a big deal. the league to come and take it away, to me, kind of saved it from being even spoken about because it technically didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The clock
Well, they did. They rescinded it, so it's just a 9 rebound game now.
But are we talking about a guy that did it in one game, or are we talking about guys that do it all the time? Like which one are we gonna talk about more?
Or guys that fight their teammates for a rebound to grab it away so they can get the rebound for it.
I had that happen to me in college. I needed one more rebound, and I had a guy that knew it, but he wanted to get like double, and he took the rebound.
Oh, that sucks.
I ended up with 15, 12, and 9.
Oh,
were you mad?
That game, yeah.
Were you mad?
I was disappointed, but at that time, Magic Johnson was the only one who had a triple-double.
Oh, man.
So I would have been on the list with Magic.
Did you ever come close again for a triple-double?
Yes, I actually came close a lot.
Never
got it in college. Never got it into the NBA.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, I wasn't capable of, going and padding my stats and going and get it. But I just know, like, playing that game, people can say you pass stats all you want. It's still hard to go get them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's still hard to go get them. I mean, you still got to be a talented guy to go get a triple-double.
Sure.
One way or another, you just can't just show up and be like, hey, I'm going to go get this. I mean, people still have to make shots to get an assist.
Mm-hmm.
Or you still got to block shots, or you still got to go get the rebound, and you still have to score.
Yeah.
So it's still not – that's the part that I say, like, people do it. I mean, you all play sports. Marcus, in your league, you probably trying to run the people over as much or take charges or whatever, like, whatever you do.
Yeah, I mean, the threes and charges probably. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, moving picks more like it.
Moving picks, yeah,
moving picks, whatever the threes and
moving picks, man.
So if you plan in your game, right? And you plan in your game and you hot and you got 26 points and there's 3 minutes left, are you not going to try to get 30? Of
course.
What is that?
Is that padding stats though, or is it just trying to score?
You just said I'm trying to get 30. You didn't say anything about I'm trying to win.
If you're trying to score to get 30, then you're going for stats. If you're trying to score to win, that's different.
Yes, you didn't say I'm trying to win. You said I'm trying to go get 30.
You're going for 30.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm that close.
Exactly.
So wait, so it's only stat padding if you're close to that? So at the beginning of the game, if you say, I want 30 tonight, is that stat padding?
That's goal setting.
I mean, you still got
there you go.
This is all I'm saying. Like, I just think if you're doing anything that hinders what's the structure of the team and trying to win, then I think it goes that direction. But if it's within the flow of that team, and every team is different, if it's within the flow of that team trying to win, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
If the team is still trying to win. So if a team is trying to win and a guy like Russ or Joker go get a rebound and everybody else let them get the rebound and they're still trying to win, so what?
Yeah. I think that's when it changed for Russ. I think this all changed for Russ when that formula stopped winning games. And they're like,
It didn't really stop winning games. I mean, they weren't winning games because they weren't one of the best teams. That's why they didn't win games.
But that formula of trying to grab every rebound and get triple doubles, well, then it's not a winning formula. Then what do you mean? Like, it's not.
I mean, what do you mean it's not a winning formula? What was that team going to do when he was there? Like, what were they going to do if he didn't get triple doubles? They were still. Are you saying they were going to win more?
We'll never know because I don't think Russ was capable of that at that time of not trying to go for triple doubles every time.
Are we talking about end of OKC or are we talking Houston? What are we talking
about? End of OKC, Washington.
I mean, but that team
Washington went to the playoffs.
Yeah, that team without Russ is. I mean, look at them right now.
Washington went to the playoffs and haven't since then.
Yeah. And I don't think even before that, I think it was
before they didn't do it then, but they did it the year he was there.
Yeah. And
While
Washington
was
triple-double.
And well, I hope that $55 million went towards a play-in game victory.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't go in somebody's pocket now. You can't go in nobody's pocket now. Get your hands out of people's pocket now. They ain't got nothing to do with you. You ain't paying that salary. You ain't giving him that salary.
But he's making it.
So he earned it.
Yeah, no, I know. My point is, that's
so
a
he
lot.
earned it. You can't criticize somebody that he earned that money. He earned it. Somebody gave that to him. He earned it. He didn't hold a gun up to nobody's head and make them give that to him. He got that money, and he will have a statue in Oklahoma City. He will have one.
I'm talking about impact versus. I'm talking about on.
No, you're talking about brother salary.
I know. I'm talking about on-court impact versus financial impact on the team, because salaries can hurt the team. It can. It just can.
Well, somebody can hurt the team making the minimum.
Less likely than the guy making the most.
It does. Yes, it can. Somebody can hurt because you can go give it to somebody else that can have a bigger impact. Mm-hmm. So it can hurt somebody. It can hurt the team. Any salary can hurt the team, but it's always guys that have the high salary that we go after. That's a little bit of jealousy.
Well, because
it's a little bit of jealousy too, man.
It's cap percentage though. That's why.
But it's a little bit of jealousy because
one guy's making 70% of the cap.
At that rate, why is it always a guy like Russ when it's a lot of guys that make a lot of money that you can say that about? It's a lot of guys like that.
True. I think the only people that get criticized.
But I'm just saying, like, his name always comes.
I know
up.
it does.
So I take it a little personal because it's always an attack on him.
I know.
But it's so many other guys, if that's the case, that you can put in that box.
Well, we had this conversation about Tobias a couple weeks ago.
I'm just saying. So it's so many. In some ways, at the beginning of the year, they all said it about James until he took this.
I disagree with that, though, with James.
No, I'm just saying. You say it about everyone, but it's like, when is it going to be to the point where a guy can make money and they pay him? So you pay a guy and say, hey, here, we're going to give you this salary. You need to be going this way. When is it like? What are you expecting when?
I think a lot of people are saying they don't care what James makes on this contract because he's played the way he's played. He is earned to make that crazy.
Yeah, but even at a point, people thought that about Russ too, and then at a certain point when they said, "Oh, he doesn't deserve that money."
His salary became an issue when he went to the Lakers, and all the talking heads now it wants to be an issue.
Yeah,
we didn't hear that when he played for the Wizards.
We did a little bit.
Thank you.
That's the extent.
Thank you.
What do you mean? It was like a salary dump when they traded him to LA. What do you mean?
It was what?
It was basically like a giant salary dump in that LA deal. They wanted to get off that contract. That was their main goal. It wasn't even to get back talent. It was just to get off that contract, and they traded.
Yes, but we didn't hear that. You want to get off that contract because of the direction the team is going.
For cap flexibility.
But they still got a lot of guys.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with him. That's about the team, not him. Mm-hmm. That's what the team wants and what the team needs.
I'd say
I'm just saying they are paying Bradley Beal, right? And he deserves everything that he gets.
Yep.
And there's still a 10th, 11th, 12th seed. So is he now overpaid?
You don't hear that? No.
You don't hear that yet.
I'm just saying.
People don't believe that.
You will, though. You will hear that.
I'm just saying. You can go down. You know how many teams that got the high salary guys and not going to make the playoffs this year?
I thought
Chicago Bulls.
I thought it was a lot to get Bradley Beal. I thought that Bradley Beal contract locked them into mediocrity at best for the next 5 years.
I'm just giving you examples. I'm just saying that I just think it's unfair that it's always one guy that people go at.
Well, it's not the guy's fault.
Examples of high salary guys where their teams are struggling too.
I'm not even blaming the players, though. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying it's unfortunate.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
no, of course, I'm not blaming them, though.
I'm not
blaming. I'm not. It's the way the NBA is set up. A team is forced to overpay their talent, or else they'll just go somewhere else. That's the problem with it. And they're
not forced to do it. They made a decision to do it.
You don't get compensated, though, like you do in the NFL. You don't get comp picks. You don't get franchise tags. You can't trade for picks. Guys just leave you high and dry, and it's see ya, bye. That's unfortunate. I think you'd be a lot more fair.
Why do they need to be compensated for it?
Why did the NFL decide that teams need to be compensated?
Because the NFL don't give guaranteed contracts.
But why should the teams get compensated for that, though?
Yeah, that's just what they negotiated. Like, why should a team get compensated for a player leaving? It's called free agency.
You still
the player don't get compensated. The player don't get compensated when the team trade him.
We got compensated in the Jimmy Butler, and that was free agency.
No, the player don't get compensated.
Well, if he wants to go to a city of his choosing, he does.
Yes, but most likely you don't.
Because they're just
player does not get compensated when the team trades them, but we want to compensate the team if a player leaves for free agency. That's backwards.
Well, he's getting the contract no matter what. He's getting the contract. He's still getting the money.
Well, he already has his contract before you trade him. So he's not getting anything additional. He already has the contract. So you're saying that the team should be able to get compensated if a guy leaves for free agency. But his contract ran out. It's free. He has the right to go somewhere else, just like they have the right to do something else. So if he's a free agent and they decide to sign someone else, does he get compensated?
But what you just described is the reason why teams do overpay their own talent, though, because the way it's set
teams
up.
Don't have to. That's their decision.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course it is, but with the current system, they feel like they have to do it.
They don't.
They don't in actuality, but they feel like they do. Hence why guys get signed to huge deals. And now look, Bradley Beal's saying, "Oh, I'm going to draw a line in the sand soon." It's like, oh, really? You weren't drawing a line in the sand when you got 5 highest paid players in the league? That's not fair either.
Fair to who?
Well, there's the balance between winning
the team. Bradley Beal could have left. You could have said no to that contract.
Didn't the Wizards just dump Russ for the same reason you talk about, right? Didn't they just trade him for that same reason?
That's
Beal, what you said. It was a salary dump, right?
Okay, but
you said it was a salary dump.
Correct.
So they made that decision.
Yes.
So they made that decision to pay Bradley too.
Yeah, and he made it. And he made it.
So we can't be talking about it's a player issue. That's a team issue.
I'm not blaming the players.
There's nothing wrong with this cap. They make decisions. They got a lot of people in there to make a lot of money to make these decisions.
Sure, but do you feel the same way when a player wants to renege on that deal and go somewhere else and hold out and leave and not come to games anymore and make a big problem? Do you feel the same way when players do that?
Would do what?
When they don't pull Ben Simmons and they don't want to come to work anymore and they want to go somewhere else, or when Bradley Beal.
I don't agree with that. I personally don't agree with that. I won't call a guy out for doing that because I don't know his circumstances. I personally don't agree with doing that. Like I don't think that there would be a time that I would do that. I would actually get traded, but I would still come. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
And do my job. So
consummate professional.
I'm just saying, like, I would do that, but I don't know everybody's circumstance. So being it seems to be more other stuff going on.
No, but like now Bradley, after signing that contract willingly, is now saying, well, everyone's got a line that it gets crossed at some point. It's like,
I think to a certain, I don't think that's actually right with a lot of people, because, if you got teammates, they like where you at. So that's what I'm saying. I think you got to be more to it than just a guy, I don't want to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not going to get into what his reasons were. I'm just saying, me personally, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah, or like there's a lot of guys who want out at a certain point soon after they sign a contract too. It's like you didn't have a problem.
But a lot of that time when they signed that contract, what I'm telling you is a lot of things that they were promises, they were promised, don't show up. So that's what I'm saying.
That goes both ways too, though.
Yes. And sometimes if you're not really involved in that negotiation and how things are going, like I Bleav with Kevin Durant, promises weren't met. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like promises weren't met. That's why I think that they did him a favor. They did him a favor. Not necessarily everybody else, but they did him a favor. They sent him where he wanted to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's doing right. But see, like we said earlier, though, they don't have to do that. But they did right by him, right? It's a good thing to do.
But I think that it was because he did right by them too. You see what I'm saying?
If a player goes in and it's like, hey, guys, I'm going to leave you. Some players do it, some players don't. Most don't. Yeah. I'm going to leave you in a month from now. Work on the sign and trade for me. Here are my preferred destinations. If you can make it happen, wonderful. If not, then I'm just letting you know I'm leaving you. They don't have to do it. Of course not.
No. But I mean that also comes down to relationships, and it comes down to most likely representation. Speaking with the team in advance to kind of work that relationship and work those deals. So that's a feel. That's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, teams still have to make decisions.
That's why
decisions all the time.
That's why I thought
they make decisions. It's times where guys should make more and they don't because they have no leverage.
Yeah.
So they don't pay them more.
It's true too. That's why I actually like the way what Harden. How everyone says Harden did Brooklyn wrong. Dude, he was telling him he was leaving. He gave you 6 months in advance to tell you he was leaving. That's better than most players do.
Well, I mean, they made a decision to get a guy that was going to be a free agent too. So that's another decision that you make. So
yeah,
yep. And we're going to see that play out this offseason when Harden decides to either stay.
It's going to be another issue. Teja, y'all going to be mad when he go back to Houston.
I mean, yes, I will.
That's what everybody's saying. He's going back to Houston.
I will be. I'll tell you right now, I'll be very mad. Not because of the decision, because it doesn't make sense. Because he asked for things and got them, and then you leave anyway. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what they're going to offer him, so we don't really know what he's.
Well, that's true. We don't know the money part of it, but assuming he gets
and the years, we don't know. We don't know what the Sixers are going to give him, so that will come down. That will matter.
Yeah.
And we got a whole offseason to talk about that, so we'll save this. We'll save that part for about May or June, hopefully June. Hopefully June. Okay, so we're gonna get into the big game against Milwaukee, but before that, we're gonna talk about something that's been kind of the main thing since we traded Thybulle. We kind of talked about Thybulle, making the comments about Philly, but ever since then, Thybulle's kind of been playing well. People have somewhat of seller's remorse getting rid of Thybulle for Jalen McDaniels, but things have started to change after the game that McDaniels had Saturday night and even the game he had last night, stepping in for Tobias. But are you guys still happy about the trade for McDaniels, the Thybulle for McDaniels swap? Are you guys happy about that still as of right now?
I mean, my thing is what Thybulle is doing in Portland does not surprise me, but I also do not think that he would have done that with us. I just don't think it was going to happen. The way it was going, the direction it was going, the inconsistency in the minutes. I don't think Doc would have committed to him. I don't think he had enough confidence and enthusiasm for it to happen here. It was just time to move on. And I don't even think it was a talent decision. It was just, it's not working. It's kind of dissolved. Let's move on. You go do what you need to do, and we'll go a different direction. So from that standpoint, I say, the move had to be made. Now, whether we made the right move or not, to me, is the question. If is it something you could have packaged, or is it something you could have went a different direction? We don't know, because we don't know what was offered. But I don't think that you can get, remorse from him leaving, because it wasn't going to happen here. It wasn't.
Do you like what McDaniels has produced for us so far? And what
yeah. I like what he's doing. I think that he's different. He's something we don't have. He's an athlete, and once he didn't have a training camp. He didn't have all season like everyone else did.
Yeah.
So I like what he brings to the table, and I think he's still figuring out what his role is. But he's been effective trying to figure it out.
It's funny when you were saying that, Eric, about Matisse, I was thinking the cliche change of scenery, and that's really what it was for him. He needed a complete change of scenery, because you hear a lot of people use those incorrectly for other things, but like this was just a great example that he just wasn't going to get what he's getting in Portland here, which is a lot of opportunity and a lot of minutes. Whether he should or shouldn't, that's a different story altogether. That's a coaching decision thing. But yeah, I don't feel like he thought he was empowered to shoot or to try on offense more to get more opportunities. He wasn't getting the minutes. I think Matisse is playing lights out. He's shooting 45% on threes on 4.4 attempts a game. He was not going to play enough to get 4.4 attempts.
He wasn't going to get that.
No way. So, and by seller's remorse, and if we're just comparing his Portland to what McDaniels is giving us and what half the amount of minutes seems like, that's not fair anyway. So I mean, it's give McDaniels 38 minutes a game or 37, whatever the hell Thybulle's playing with him. Maybe you can make that comparison, but for the shorter time that both those guys get on Philadelphia, I actually think McDaniels is a better fit for what we do. For like the limited minutes he gets, he's a versatile wing, long defender, good rebounder. Just creates problems. Him and Paul Reed created so many problems defensively for teams. The energy, the athleticism. I think he's fitting well considering he's only been here for a couple of weeks. So if you compare it just to what they'd be given here, so for who do I want playing 15 minutes or 16 minutes, McDaniels or Thybulle? I'd probably go with McDaniels because we know Thybulle wasn't doing well with that limited minutes. He wasn't producing like that. So, and we're 7-3 since McDaniels trade. So I also think it's translating into wins as well. And I saw someone posted today, he's over his last, I think 4 games, he's plus 42. Can't complain about that. And on top of that, you have the cost-effective part of it, which Morey alluded to for next year's flexibility with re-signing players. One of them we were just talking about a minute ago. That also played a part in it. So not only are you getting a guy for limited minutes who can contribute and fit in well with what we need here, you're getting a guy who can help out for cost-effective for the future. So I'm still happy. I'm still happy with the trade.
Yeah, and last night was McDaniels' first 30-minute plus game with us, and 20 points, 8 rebounds. And contrast the Thybulle. I know I'm cherry picking one of Thybulle's worst games with Portland. Thybulle at 37 minutes last night, 3 points, 2 rebounds. So
yeah,
I know it's cherry picking, but in the contrast, McDaniels looked good in his extended playing time last night.
I think Thybulle's also averaging like 2 steals and a block a game. So I mean, we know what Thybulle can do. I mean, we know he's valuable in all parts of the court, but that's if you give him a lot of run, and we just weren't doing that, and we weren't going to. We were just going to lose him for nothing this offseason. He's going to be gone.
Yeah, and like Eric said, I know people try to compare both of them. They're 2 totally different types of players. I mean, McDaniels, you can see he can actually create on offense, where Thybulle wasn't really doing that, and obviously we weren't really giving him much time to do that, but it's just like just a different look with him on the court.
Yeah.
Athletic guy. All right, so we're going to get into the game on Saturday, which I was at a bar Saturday. No audio. It's kind of sucked, but I was tuned in watching the entire game. But Sixers, man, huge win. I thought we were going to get dominated that third quarter. Well, another rough third quarter. But fourth quarter came out scoring 48 points in the fourth, 20 points from Harden in the fourth. Embiid and Harden, I believe, second Philly tandem to ever go 30 points and 10 plus assists in a game together. They did that without Tobias and PJ for much of that game. So I got to ask you guys, was this our best win of the season? And another part to that question, who would you guys be more scared of facing in the playoffs, Milwaukee or Boston?
Well, man, I had the wrong guy. Remember I said Maxey, somebody had to score 35 plus for us to win that game.
Yep.
And I just knew you had to be better than average to go there and win.
You were close. You were 1 number off, Eric.
Yeah.
0 and 1.
Yeah. Dude, I think it was the best win? No. Do I think it was a great win? Yes. But I see it almost as a swap from losing the Boston game.
Yeah.
Because that's a game I felt we should have won. And I'm sure Milwaukee's looking at this game like, man, we should have beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would say the Memphis game is the biggest game.
Yeah. That's
out of the break. Because you go out of the break, the way that game was going, if we don't come back, we don't win that. Now you go to Boston and lose that game. And you know what I'm saying? It looks different. To me, it looks different. I think the Milwaukee game was a big game, but I would still think that coming out of the All-Star break, you know how sour things can get. Losing that game, they're losing to Boston.
You don't factor in who the opponent is, like someone we could play and who like a conference rival is?
No, because Milwaukee has already shown me they can go to the finals and win the championship. They've shown me that. We haven't.
Yeah.
So that's the team I already know can do that. So I'm going to judge us on how we play against Milwaukee in the playoffs, not in the regular season game. Great to end their streak, great. But that team also lost that game, went on the road, and won the game the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
not even 24 hours later.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like within 24 hours, they were winning another game. So
crazy.
It wasn't like they went on the losing streak now. And I would, as much as like Boston, we're 0-3 against Boston this year.
Yep.
I still would rather play Boston than Milwaukee.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Because I just think Milwaukee's a better team. I think they're deeper. They have a lot of guys. They've had injuries. They haven't had their full team all year. So now you're talking about 2 or 3 months from now, and that team's been playing together. They're gonna be different in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a reason. I mean,
they're both deep. Boston.
Yeah, they got a 4 or 5 game lead, and they have it for a reason.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And Middleton is still he played reserve minutes against us.
Does the fact that George Niang actually shooting well in Milwaukee change your mind at all? One of the few
you spoke into existence.
He knock
somebody struggled on the road shooting. There you go.
Yep. Trust me, I thought about that when I was watching him put it down.
I mean, I just think what Niang did is that's always going to be needed to win. Like you're going to always need somebody else outside of your key guy to step up, and it may not always be that same guy. We know that. Mm-hmm. So that particular night, it was him. So, I mean, he shoots like that. James was great. Maxey, Joel, they all scored. And it was still a 2 or 3 point game.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, we did lose Tucker and Tobias, but yeah.
Yeah, they combined for 5 points, those two.
Yeah, I mean, but if they're in there, then somebody else isn't. Maybe Niang doesn't play.
It's true.
So if they're in there, Niang's not
7
playing.
threes, 6 threes,
6 of 8.
I'm just saying, but he may not. Then if he was doing that and he was playing, then one of those 2 guys weren't going to play.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's not like they were going to play together. I'm saying that we've seen all year long they don't do that. Mm-hmm. Play all 3 together unless we're going small, which we weren't going to do against Milwaukee. Yeah, I think my thing is they got Middleton. If he's back to form as their second best player, and Jrue Holiday is definitely good enough to play even, if not better, than James.
It's tough, yeah.
And we know that Joel's gonna get his, Giannis is gonna get his. That's even though they don't go head to head, they're gonna both be effective.
So you'd rather play a team that you deem to be less overall talented, but
no, I think I'd rather play Boston because I think Boston is more beatable in a series.
Oh, just as a team though, but like
yes,
what if? But we obviously match up better against Milwaukee, no?
Yeah, but I just think Milwaukee's much better. I think
So
they're better.
you'd rather go with the team that we might match up better, but who's just a better overall team, period.
Yeah, because I'm looking at a series and not just a game.
Okay.
I'm thinking about beating the team 4 times.
Yeah.
And most likely starting out on the road.
Yep. That too.
It's Boston. I think closer. We gotta some catching up to to do to Milwaukee. That 4 games and how many games we have left? 18 or whatever? 20?
Yeah, 17, 18, something like that.
That's not easy.
No.
Making up 4 games.
We need to,
especially if you play that team again. You know what I'm saying? You don't beat them. That's adding a game.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I originally said no to that best win of the season, but I think it was because one, how good Milwaukee's playing right now. I mean, that win streak, to beat them on that win streak at home, down by that much, when they were playing well, it wasn't one of those Bucks just didn't have it tonight games. Throw it out. They had it. They had it for a lot of that game. I mean, when I was in the third quarter, when I was watching Allen just knock down anything, just catching and just launching them, I thought it was done. I know we have come back from a lot of double-digit games, but Milwaukee's not one of those teams like to do that against usually. So to come back from that, so to beat that team in their streak, to come back in that fashion against that kind of team at their home, especially after the last time we played them, which we thought this was going to have a little extra juice on it because of the whole ladder thing. It's just I that to me made it more impressive than some of the other ones. That the game itself might have been more impressive, but I think that the stuff around it made this higher for me just because of who it was, when it was, where it was. That to me kind of
the reason maybe because the Lakers went in there and beat Milwaukee on the ABC on the Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? They ended up still in 12th place. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that Milwaukee being where they are, now all of a sudden that's a big gain for the Sixers to go in there as a measuring stick. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at now. We're third seed. And we beat the number 1 seed, and that's a big game for us to beat a team that's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
that's
I mean,
why I'm like I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of how the game was. I just look from a standpoint that Memphis game wasn't going great. Looked like we were going to lose in that fashion to come back and win, because we know how coming out of a break can look. And then all of a sudden, all these sources start speaking.
Yeah, that's true too. But losing against Boston and Milwaukee in the same week would have been pretty rough too, especially when everyone was just saying that we're on the same tier as them. That also would have hurt a little bit too.
I mean, you technically are on the same tier as them if you're within a few games. You are. The difference is Boston went to the finals and Milwaukee went to the finals and won the championship.
Yeah.
So the tier is about the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah,
they've proven they've gotten past the second round.
They're above us.
I'm saying they've gotten past the second round.
Yeah. And if you just look at our players and say, what have they done in their careers? Underachievers in the playoffs. So we definitely have that to overcome.
You said at first it wasn't going to be your game of the year for us. What was the game you had a little bit before that?
I had a couple. The Clippers game was awesome. The comeback for that one. The Denver game was awesome. And the Memphis game.
I think the Denver game was the biggest game for Joel.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Brooklyn game I love too. The one that they agree with, it was almost a fight every 5 seconds.
Oh yeah,
because that was tempering their that was holding their tempers in check while winning a game that's very emotional. Not the best opponent, but so when you factor all that stuff in, when I took in the fact that Milwaukee hasn't lost since,
I mean,
Milwaukee hasn't lost since January 21st.
If we're being honest and we're being fair, right?
Sure.
Then the game in Orlando was the biggest when we lost our top 3 players and we went in there and won. Because we all said we were losing that game.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we beat the Nets. They had Durant and Kyrie. We beat them without, I think, Joel and Harden.
Yeah.
It's also big too.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good games this year, I guess. But I think the whole Milwaukee,
the circumstances,
how well, I mean, like, dude, they haven't lost since January 21st. That's insane. Like, that streak, and to be up by that much, it hurt, man. That had to hurt them a little bit. Yeah. Kudos to them for coming back the next night and just taking care of business.
Yeah, I mean, that right there showed me that it hurt, but they mature team because they went on the road, and you know what I'm saying.
They almost lost that game. They were down for quite a bit in that Washington game, but almost doesn't mean anything.
What do you mean almost? What are you talking about, man? Almost lost, man. We almost lost too. What are you saying?
That's true.
We almost lost.
We were down most of the game. Say the same. You can say the same thing about us. We were down for most of the game, and we were almost lost. Same thing.
It's true.
Oh, and I'd rather face Milwaukee.
And you're basing that on because we beat them both times this year? Is that why you're basing that on?
Yeah, I feel like our confidence level in general going into a series against them will be higher.
Why?
I mean, Joel publicly has said Boston owns us. When you have your best player telling your entire world that a team owns you going into a series against that team, it's not very good. It's not very high.
Boston owns us. We ain't talking about going past the second round then, because that's what we're gonna play in the second round.
Well, one of those two teams.
No, we ain't catching Milwaukee.
Yeah, but Boston could catch Milwaukee.
You watched Boston recently?
Yeah. Well, we catch Boston.
Huh?
We catch Boston.
We need to because they own us. If they own us, we need to catch Boston.
Well, if we go to 4, then we would play Milwaukee in the second round.
So now we're going backwards?
I'm not saying I want to. I'm just saying it could. They're on us.
Ooh.
Cavs.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's another topic anyway. So let's go to the next one.
We say, go ahead, Mark.
What are you gonna say, Eric? What are you gonna say?
I mean, we can't be talking about beating Milwaukee and Boston, then talking about Cleveland catching us at the same time. Like,
we have a tough schedule. It's more than just Cleveland versus us. It's a hard schedule.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a topic.
Yeah, I mean, then that means you on the road the rest of the final, except for the first round.
Mm-hmm.
If the teams win,
unless some upsets happen,
I'm saying if the teams win.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to the playoff scenarios, which is always a fun topic, 3-1 on the road trip, as we mentioned already in the show. But last 3 games, the Sixers have given up an average of 135 points, which last night's game was crazy. I think it was like 80 to something at halftime. It was wild, and I thought the Mavericks and Sixers game was a high scoring game. Last night took it out of the water. But are you guys worried about the defense, or are you the mindset that it's whatever gets it done on the road, even if it is a high scoring affair?
Go ahead, Teja.
I don't like that we're giving up that much, but we've had last night especially. We did have a kind of like a makeshift lineup because we're missing 2 guys who have been good defenders this year for us, by the way. I've seen us win gutted out low scoring games, and I've seen us win high scoring games. If our defense had been struggling more all season, I'd be a little more worried. But I'm more of the whatever gets it done, because if we're rising to the occasion of a high-scoring game, or if we're rising to the occasion on a low-scoring game, that to me is more important, our adaptability for game to game. So I'm not as concerned about it, to be honest. I don't like it. Let me say that again.
Yeah, I mean, you're scoring. If your possessions are going up, teams are going to score. I would go more on percentage defense more so than points. What percentage of teams scoring on you? What percentage of teams scoring you from three? How often they're getting to the free throw line during that time? How many offensive rebounds you're giving up? I would kind of see how those numbers look before I worry about the total score. Because that can dictate a lot. So if a team is, shooting on a high clip against you, you're going to have to address that, whether they're scoring 90 points or 120 points. If they're still shooting 45% from three, that needs to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? So where I don't like the highs giving up a lot of points, if you win them, you can get by, but I still think percentages, my college coaches always tell me, like, if you win the shooting percentage game, rebound game, and turnover game, majority of the time you win. So I now it's 3-point percentage game, but you can, if you're winning that and the attempts are somewhat similar, you're winning a lot of those games. If you look at the winning teams, they're winning those battles.
I can answer some of those questions for you, by the way. So the last 3 games, 40% for this is 3-point percentages. 40% Pacers shot.
It was 50% Milwaukee and
50% Milwaukee and 52 for Dallas. At a high clip, too. Dallas shot 25 of 48. That's insane. 17 of 34 for Milwaukee and 15 of 37 last night. Offensive rebounds, we either tied or lost that battle. Milwaukee had 11, we had 9, 5-5 in Dallas and 5-5 in the Pacers. And then free throws, we beat the Pacers by 7. We beat the Bucks by 9, and we just barely beat the Mavericks by 2. So, I guess that kept us in it a little bit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you giving up that kind of percentage shooting, you're not going to win the majority of those games.
Yeah, that's why Boston beat us. They just shot.
Yeah,
they had their guy.
You're not going to win the majority of those games. So for that one game that we, so if I'm Milwaukee and I'm going to say we shot 50% against them from 3 and we lost, like, they're not thinking you better than them. They're looking at that game the same way we were looking at the Boston game.
Pretty much, yeah. Very, very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only shot what? If you look at that, they shot 50% against us on Saturday. We shot 48.6% from 3. So it was only pretty much marginal difference there.
No. Yeah, I mean, just you get in the playoffs, the possessions are going to shrink. Be a little harder to score. I mean, I don't see teams, unless it's a blowout, team scoring like that, but I don't see the scoring like that from both teams.
Yeah.
Because I think the strategy will be a little different. Giannis going to the rim, I mean, they're not going to give him as many uncontested looks, and it's just going to be different. You give him a crowd, and you'll be a little more selective of who you want to shoot the threes, from a team strategy standpoint. So, but that's what happens when you have time to game plan and you're not playing a different opponent the next game.
Yeah.
And some things you don't want to show them until you play them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
We're actually we're top 10 in percentage allowed threes for the season.
Wow.
But when we lose, it's because they're pouring it on us at 3.
Yeah.
They're just open shots, just open threes.
I was reading that Milwaukee actually has a hard time stopping the 3. That was kind of why Niang got a lot of minutes in this game. That was what I read. I think it was a Brian Toporek article who highlighted their Milwaukee's difficulty of stopping 3s. So that was kind of the big reason why he got more playing time, and also we had injuries.
Stopping 3s?
No, giving up 3s. They're one of the worst at defending 3s. That was what.
Who is?
Milwaukee.
Who you talking about?
Milwaukee.
They're one of the worst at defending the 3.
Defending 3. That was an article that I read from Toporek.
That's weird. They're statistically they're second overall.
Maybe
it was a recent one.
Maybe it was a recent trend, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't recall them being like. I know they shoot a lot of 3s, but I didn't recall them being one of the worst at giving them up.
Yeah, it might be one of those advanced stat metrics. I kind of looked at the headline.
Yeah, you all got so many stats nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Too much.
I'm not necessarily not a fan. I just just some of the stats I just don't know what they are, and I just don't know why they're necessary. Like, why would you give a stat called per 48? What does that mean? If I played the whole game, this is what I would get. Like that. What sense does that make?
I don't know.
I guess seeing how you do. I guess it's kind of like how you do minute. I guess it's efficiency. See how efficient you are.
But you're not playing a 48-minute game. Like, what would your average? That's just a way for them to average out from somebody that's playing some.
It's a way to see if a guy played 8 minutes, you're only looking at his like, he averages 4 points a game. But what happens if we gave him more minutes? I guess it's like a hypothetical stat.
Exactly. Yeah, you played him, more minutes, then maybe he goes the other way.
Here's where that's wrong, right? Here's what not what you're saying, but like here's why that stat's wrong. Because if you took the per 48 from Matisse Thybulle when he was with Philadelphia, he would not have the same stats as he has with Portland, right? So that per 48 goes down the tubes if you take a guy who's shooting 28% from 3 and just say, okay, let's add 18 minutes to it.
But here's the thing that I've always said about per 48 or something, a stat like that. A guy may come in, and so the Pacers may come in and the guy has to guard, a starter has to guard Maxey or Harden and play against him. Another guy come in and he plays his minutes when neither one of them are on the court.
Yep.
So that's not the same. Yep. There's no way to make that the same. You're not playing against the same guys, but you want to compare guys. You're not playing with the same unit. You're not playing against the same, opponent. It's like it's not the same. It's not where everything is similar or the same. You're not playing against the same guys, same amount of minutes. So that's why I just like, what is that stat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I looked at it. It was Milwaukee's rotational players who've been struggling to defend the perimeter. That's what the
reserves.
Yeah, the reserves.
Harden kept trying to get that switch with Crowder.
Yeah, it was the big point of the game plan was creating mismatches and looking and hunting and chasing mismatches during that game in the fourth quarter, especially.
Took us a little while.
Crowder hadn't played. I can see that. Yeah. He hadn't played. I mean, do that.
Okay, so now we get to the playoff scenarios, which we kind of touched on a little bit. So right now, Sixers are 2 games back of a 2 seed from Boston, and then 4 games back from Milwaukee for that 1 seed spot. But everyone keeps talking about Cleveland potentially catching us. So my question...
I mean, Tejas just said it. Like, I guess that's what's going to happen.
He's definitely concerned about it. But so my question to you guys, what's more likely to happen? Cavs catching up to the 76ers, or we catch up to one of the top 2 seeds?
You didn't say how close the Cavs were to us, though, did you?
I did not. I did not.
You say a game and a half? I thought you said it.
They're a game and they're a game and a half. They're 2 games and a half behind us.
2.5 behind us.
2.5 behind us.
And we're 3 behind Boston.
2 behind Boston, 4 behind Milwaukee.
Yeah.
3 behind Boston.
No.
2 behind Boston. 4 behind Milwaukee. and then Cleveland's
we lost the tiebreaker. We're 3 behind Boston. So we have to have 1 game better than them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can't tie them. So that's 3 games.
Yeah, that's true. So do you think we're have a higher shot of being 3 games or going up 3 on the Boston, or Cleveland 2.5 behind us?
I think Cleveland is playing well. I just don't think Cleveland's capable of to stay consistent to catch us. I think that we're consistent enough to catch Boston, and Boston is faulty enough to fall a few games. I say we catch Boston before Cleveland catches us. Boston won't have to play Boston anymore, right? Because they own us, based on what Teja said.
We have one more game, right?
Yeah, one more game. I mean, I guess we're not going to win that.
Make that 4 games behind them then.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's only 1. I mean, the tiebreaker's already gone. So that's 3 games.
That's true. Yeah.
Boston does look vulnerable right now. 3 straight losses. Rough losses, too.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think it comes down to
we have a tough stretch, though. We
only talk about scheduling. Scheduling, it comes down to scheduling.
We have 4 more back-to-backs for the rest of the season.
And I didn't look at the schedule, so I didn't look at their schedule. I know our schedule. I'm just saying I didn't look at Boston,
brutal,
and Cleveland's schedule. Boston will average out. I mean, nobody's losing recently, but they'll average out. Cleveland, if Cleveland gets on the road, Cleveland's been struggling on the road some. So if they have more home games, they could make a run.
We play Cleveland one more time at Cleveland.
We've been beating them. I think it's really going to come down to that stretch of road games we have at the end of the year. And we plan, when is that stretch? The end of this month?
Brutal, man. It's the
end of this month because I'm supposed to go to a couple games out west.
March 22nd is when that 4-game road trip of Chicago, Golden State, Phoenix, and Denver hits.
Yes. And the issue is all of those teams are fighting for a playoff position, and they will be then. So those will all be big games for every single one of those teams.
Every single one from March 20th versus Chicago at Philly on for the rest of the season, they're all playoff teams fighting for it.
Yes.
Chicago, Golden State, Phoenix, Denver, Dallas, Toronto, Milwaukee, Boston, Miami, Atlanta, Brooklyn.
Yes.
Our
hope is by the end of the year, some of those teams are set in their position. And it's going to be tough. How many games we have left?
We have 18 games left.
Want to change your answer to Cleveland catching us, Eric?
But Cleveland has 15 games left.
I just don't think that Cleveland can be consistent enough and winning on the road to catch us. I see the Knicks catching Cleveland before they catch us.
Yeah, Cleveland has 15 games left, and 9 of them are on the road.
Yes.
Pretty rough.
But that 15 games, that's 3 games, though. That could go either way. So that's 3 games. If they're pluses for us, then, yeah, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, man. That stretches. We need to
win.
We
got 15 games left? Wow.
Yeah. All the winnable games that we have, we have to win those. Like, no, man, we can't.
You got to win your home games.
We got to win against the inferior opponents, too. Like, we got to beat them. We can't have any more slip-ups, San Antonio slip-ups anymore. We got to be on point because, I mean, Milwaukee and Boston not back to back. They're early April, man. It's going to be something else.
They're both home games, right?
No, we split it at Milwaukee and then at Philly versus Boston.
Milwaukee could be set. Is that what? How many games is left after that game?
That's
2 games?
fifth last game.
I was saying if it was closer to the end, they could be going in the towel
and some of these games could be back to backs for those teams.
Pulling some load management.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. I mean, it could be. And that could be a back. Some of these games that we're looking at that look daunting could also be back to backs for those teams. You know what I mean? We don't know that. It's funny. Milwaukee also plays Boston before they play us. So Milwaukee plays Boston, we play Milwaukee, then we play Boston. So
national TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's about.
Yeah, we have a lot of national televisions for the rest of the game. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
National TV is still always big games.
Yeah, they backloaded our schedule big time.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of national TV games, our game prediction tonight is the TNT game, 7:30. So it's the last game of our road trip. Back to back, obviously played Indiana last night. But we opened up as a 2.5 point underdog. We are currently a 3-point underdog. And we might have some guys miss for this game. I think Tobias is out, and PJ Tucker is a game time decision, and James Harden also game time decision too. So we'll see what happens if any of those guys are out.
We're not going to play. We don't even know who's going to play. Whatever the spread is, whatever. Go with it.
You thought we blew our load.
Whatever it is, go with it, man. We got it.
Gonna lose our last one before going back
they
home.
just like, man, let me get back home, man. It's cold up in Minnesota.
I wouldn't even blame them, man, at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'll have some guys that come in and actually they're gonna play well. They're gonna give us a shot. Now we've proven when guys are out, we can go win a game.
We played really well shorthanded this year.
It's kind of that gives me some hope. I just don't know who's gonna show up. Like, not show up. I'm sorry, that's the bad word. We just don't know who's going to play or not.
You mean like literally show up and play?
Like literally play.
Yeah. Physically be there and have a ball in their hand.
Play, yes.
Log of minutes.
I believe the guys are going to show up and compete and give us a chance to win. That show up, I'm saying yes. I'm saying I think that this may be a game where more guys load management.
We don't play Friday, though.
Huh?
We don't play again until Friday, though. So, I mean, they do have 4 days or 3 days to.
Yeah, win. I know, but in our thinking, you would say, "Hey, we don't play until Friday, so I'm gonna play now." Some people would say, "Hey, that's a way to get even more an extra day." It just depends on how you look at it.
It's true.
They were saying MB was grabbing his hamstring towards the end of last game. A little bit.
Him too.
The commentators were.
Yeah, man. Whatever it is, man. This.
What is the spread, Marcus? Not out.
I said 3.
Oh, it's 3.
Opened up as 2.5. Now it's 3.
+3, right?
You're a +3 with 3-point underdogs. I mean, Embiid. If I'm looking at same game parlay props. Embiid's the only guy of our starting lineup who's in this that you can on. So.
Yeah, the +3 thing definitely makes me think Minnesota's taking this because someone looking at us recently be like, oh man, Philly, man, giving points, take it.
And what's weird is 75% of the money is on Philadelphia, but the spread has gone down from 2.5 to 3. So I do think Minnesota's going to win this game based on that.
I'm going to have to lean the numbers and go Minnesota, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Wow, across the board, all three of us taking Minnesota, huh?
Opposite's going to happen, isn't it?
I hope so.
That'd be good.
I hope we reverse jinxed it.
All right. Well, that does it for us, guys. We'll see you guys Friday when we have the Thybulle versus McDaniels matchup.
Ooh, the Thybulle. The Thybulle.
God.
Here we go.
Hey, that's on the spot right there, man.
That was a good one. In Philadelphia, though, so that should be a good one for our guys. But
it'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I know Teja's gonna love that one. He can finally root against Thybulle openly. Dude,
in Philly, I mean, Thybulle should just revert back to his 1 for 4 and 18-minute game then.
He might. I mean, you never know. Playing Philly might bring back like old memories of Doc.
Seeing Doc in his peripheral while he's shooting threes. I don't think he's gonna make those things, dude.
Low blows.
You're gonna drive past that mural and see that someone put paint all over it and stuff.
Well, that's probably gone by now. That's like a month ago. All right, fellas. Well, we'll see you guys Friday. Have a good one.
Later on, guys. Yeah.